Okay, my thoughts on stuff. Someone put it very succinctly in my Discord that you no longer chase the victories come to you. And I think that is such a great way of putting it. I've played a couple games now in the latest workshop, and this is the last workshop. What I'm being presented here, I know it's work in progress, right? And who knows when it'll come out, I assume a month or two. But what's being presented here, I should take to be more or less the final product. You know, missing polish here and there is fine. But I'm going to judge these for what they are. So I think if they release this update, and they are putting a lot of stock into this update, I don't want to say they've got this one chance to sort of turn opinion on the game, but I think in a lot of ways they're building it up to be a bit like that, right? So if this is how Test of Time's going to release, I think we're in some serious strife. I don't think this is, well, look, it's a downgrade, I would say. I do think the victories are a downgrade. Economic, which I finished last night. I finished my first economic victory, again, well, of this workshop. Total disaster. It's really awful. Talk about that. That is the pinnacle of the victory coming to you, is that there was nothing more I could do. I got all my trade routes set up. All my resources were plugged in. Like, all of my slots were full. What do I do after that? I just have to wait for the victory threshold to get reduced and reduced and reduced until I eventually just win. You know, and as you said it before, like, I can't, if I declare war, I lose all my trade routes, so I can't do that. I just make merchants, I send them out, and that's it. And I have to interact with this. I have to interact with this. And I apologize. I don't know if any of the Firaxis people came over, but this screen might be my biggest concern for the just for the general vibe of the patch. This commerce screen has gotten worse and worse with every workshop, and it's, I would say, definitely a downgrade from live. Your Empire resources, where are they? They used to just be here, right? There was this nice little bar up the top, and you could see all of your Empire resources in one spot, hover over them. You know, it's got the quantity there, it's got the effect. Perfect. Magnificent. So good. So clean. Now, I can't see my Empire resources on the resource screen. I have to go to this Empire tab. And what is this? Instead of being able to see them all at once now, I've got, you know, 7 cocoa here from myself. I don't have any trade routes, luckily. Thank God I don't have any trade routes going, or else this is like a complete nightmare. But why are they so big? Why is everything so big? And this screen here, like, I used to be able to see maybe 4 or 5, I think, settlements at a time. Now I can only see, you know, 2 to 3. What a disaster. Now we're in workshop 3, and, like, don't even get me started on these tabs, right? Like, you know, this is cool. This is good. But this stuff, you know, I'm going on a bit of a rant here. This commerce screen really does my head in. But I thought this was going to be, the commerce screen was going to be like the big overhaul for connections, right? Finally, we'd get some understanding of how connections work. Why isn't my settlement connected? Nope. It's kind of just going to tell you what you already know. Trade route capacity. That's, okay, fair enough. Pretty obvious one. At peace. Again, kind of makes sense. Curious how this works with Prussia, I guess. And in range. Nope. Doesn't really tell me anything I didn't already know around connections, which, you know, this page is not cutting it. It's not cutting it. So, I don't know, man. Once again, the best parts are the non-Test of Time stuff, and I'm sorry. I can't wait for Test of Time to be over. I can't wait for this whole fiasco to be done, so we can get back to the high point of Civ 7, which was monthly updates where they were, you know, remember that time where there was new leaders, new civs coming out every month. You know, all these systems were being overhauled. Like, naval stuff has been like completely overhauled in that was it Tides of Power? Tides of Power was probably like the peak of Civ 7 for me, and I think the player count peaked then too. Now, granted, a lot of that was like siphoned from the workshop, right? So fair enough, but man, that was good. You know, Blackbeard coming out, he was like a super fun new leader. Pirates, again, really interesting civ. The ocean's like totally overhauled with new resources. You got like atolls, new map generation. Man, we had it good. And then they decided to, instead of building on what they had and improving what they had, we took it out back. They took Civ 7's foundations out the back, shot it in the head, aka legacy paths, victories, and now they're trying to sort of, revive its corpse in this mangled new fashion, and they're just shoehorning in all these new systems into a game that I don't think was really built for it, and I'm concerned. So, Civ 7's not healing. Civ 7's doing the opposite of healing. I don't know. I'm really worried. I'm a bit worried. 3 months ago, I was quite optimistic about this game and its future and everything. Again, around the Tides of Power, like Christmas update, it was really good. Now I'm not so sure. It's spreading the plague. Civ 7's going through the plague crisis. I don't think Firaxis are idiots, right? They must know that obviously the people who are in the workshop are already kind of diehard Civ 7ers. And so they have to be taking all the feedback there, I would think, with a massive grain of salt. And my big thing has been, at least that I've tried to give feedback on multiple times, and because I wasn't getting it through, I decided to make it into a video. I just think these triumphs are so boring. I think I'm not as much of like a triumph hater. Well, I kind of am, but I've come to terms with it. I've gone through the 5 stages of grief now. I know legacy paths aren't coming back. They're gone, right? We kind of have to come to terms with that. So let's just make triumphs good. And these aren't good. PT's talked about the gradual release of information, right? Really poor job here. Again, totally agree with that. I think, I don't know how to like make that better, like separate these into categories or something, but I don't even think these need to tell you everything they give like right off the bat. As in, like, you could hover over some of these. I don't know. I'm not sure how you fix this. Like, yeah, there's some color here. I don't want to repeat everything. I agree with Paisley on so much of this triumph stuff, to be honest. In that this is just the illusion of options, but it's really not. It's awful. But let's just make them more interesting at least. I'm sick of, if something starts with plus, it's probably garbage. Even if it's strong in real terms, I don't really care if it's boring, right? Plus 25% influence towards espionage actions and they complete faster. Okay, that just means I can do 4. I could do 5 espionage actions in the time I would usually be able to do 4. Whoop-de-frickin-do, right? Like, who cares about this stuff? This isn't game defining. You get to pick 3 of these 3 big modifiers for the next stage. Why aren't they actually interesting? Why aren't these in line, now that I've just noticed? Look at these cards are of different sizes. Why is this third card a different size to this one? Because this one's complete, is that why? Yeah, if it starts with plus and is followed by anything diplomatic, into the dumpster it goes. It feels like it. I just think these are so boring. Who comes up with this stuff? Plus 3 combat strength against fortifications? Like, okay. This one had the potential to be cool. This is actually maybe my biggest disappointment of this workshop. I thought these, there's 4 of them here. So plus 1 tourism on fortifications is a military one. Plus 300 GDP when you complete a science project. Okay, that's pretty cool. You've got to build 7 universities. I was really excited for some of these. Plus 1 Dominion. This is one we're going to be taking advantage of this game. I thought these were going to be super cool. But they are really undertuned. Now I know, like, I'm playing on deity, right? So it's fair enough. Like, maybe 300 GDP is really impactful for like a, I don't know, what's the middle difficulty? Like settler, prince maybe. Last game I finished up with, the win I think was about 25,000 GDP. So 300 GDP from the very rare projects you get at the end of the tech tree. It's nothing, right? Like, if you finished 4 or 5 of those projects, then you're at the space victory. And don't get me started on the fact that the space victory is the only one you can't win until the modern age, right? Which is how it should be. But because of that, the science victory, like, it's just so hard to get now, surely. Compared to the other ones where it just gets easier and easier as the threshold drops. Oh my god. No, Triumph's driving up the wall. Forget what I said now. I don't hate the idea of Triumphs. I kind of do. But I think the implementation is just, I'm going to say it, pathetic. These bonuses are shameful. Like, I don't know. Okay, this one, great example. Toshikana, awesome. Actually changes the way you play the game. Keep your fan of belief. That's kind of interesting. Doesn't really change the way you play the game, but it's interesting. Okay, makes you think about religion, even sort of past its due date, I guess. Okay, the one from the live build, exactly. And then you've got, like, I don't know, so build one is like plus for culture, plus for production. Who cares? Who cares, right? It's super worthless. Again, plus sign at the start, ignore. This should, you know, wonders now give triple adjacency to buildings. Okay, now I've got to think about where I put my wonders a bit. Easy fix there. Like, just make them interactable, not just these passive bonuses. There's so many passive bonuses in here. Plus 2 gold for every assigned resource. Am I gonna... Oh, geez, man, I'm going to really try hard to focus on assigning resources in the modern age. What do you mean? Isn't that what you're going to be doing anyway? Like, that's just a little bit more, an insignificant amount of gold for the modern age. Like, what the hell? What is this? Look at the alignment on these, by the way. What is going on here? Why are these all, like, different sizes? I'm just going through the tabs now to see what else I can rant about. This screen really is diabolical. I'm sorry. The commerce screen is absolutely diabolical. Also, has anyone got this drag and drop thing to work? I don't have a good example here to show, I don't think. Can I take this out? Okay, I did get some new resources. Has anyone managed to get this to work? This doesn't... I can drag. The drag works, but where's the drop? It doesn't drop. This is me dropping. I'm clicking, it doesn't work. This is not a complicated feature. At least it shouldn't be. So what is going on with their, like, back end? That this apparently is like a difficult to implement, buggy feature. I've never got this to work. I've played 3 games now in this last workshop. I've never been able to drop. I can drag sometimes. Oh, drag's gone. I can no longer drag. So drag and drop is cooked. I've had a lot of multiplayers really, go to town on this update. Yeah, every single game ends in a tie because no one can really get ahead that much of these, like, pretty insane thresholds, right? Oh, wow. Look at this entry. This is an all-timer right here. I went to look up Victories, and this is the absolute gem of wisdom I get to try and work out how Victories work in Civ 7. Okay, I'll go to this one. Okay, no, that one doesn't work either. Okay, economic victory. Anyway, these thresholds are so insane. Like, even the, you know, quite late into the game one here, like 40% through the modern age, you gotta have double the next best player. So you do just have to wait for the threshold to keep dropping, and then it all happens at the same time, and then it's just a tie. So I can see that happening a lot. I can see why multiplayer people are pretty upset about that. Now, obviously, they're a bit of a minority. That's understood, but I don't know. Yeah, the victory one is... This is a shocker. Why is the P capitalized too? Did a German write this? It was victory. Anyway. Oh, the victory points aren't even in here as well. Dude, this is like... The Civilopedia, I don't know if... At least for me, like... Well, I think it's pretty common. The Civilopedia is really important. You can't have a strategy game unless you know the rules. And the Civilopedia is kind of, you know, meant to be like the Wikipedia for all of these mechanics. But this is so pitiful. The Civ one is, like, obviously the biggest offender. Hey, at least we can see all of the Civs now, right? You used to only be able to see the ones in your age, which is insane. But no hyperlinks here? What the hell, man? That can't be real. How are we a year into the game's release and you still can't see what the Civs do? Even if these were hyperlinked, where's the traditions? Where's everything else? At least the leaders are okay. I don't know. This is the kind of thing they should be working on, but instead they're working on Test of Time. And that's what hurts so much. Is that the Civilopedia is out here languishing and they're working on triumphs. That's Let that sink in, right? Instead of fixing Civilopedia, we're getting the Triumph system. We're making Victories worse. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, Firaxis. I'm not getting sponsored again after this one. um, uh, it's the kind of thing. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't really need it anymore, but man, that is a for the new players. Like that's pretty. I would say a critical feature. And another thing, they seem to be going hard on these advisors. That seems like a pretty big focus for them this patch. I've never seen them say anything useful. I've been having it on just to test it out and see what they would say. One interesting thing I've noticed is that when they're on and they go to give you advice, you hit next turn and then they interrupt that next turn to tell you the tip. So then you have to hit next turn twice. Why would you put them on the next turn action? Why wouldn't it go at the start of your turn? So I turn the culture advisor on, then I hit next turn to finish my turn, and then it's like, hey, did you know that wonders exist? And you go, yes. And then you close that, and you got to hit next turn again. What's that about? Has someone written a feedback post about that? Because that happens a lot. Anyway, instead of advisors, we should have invested into the Civilopedia. This is not it. I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. If there's some new players in the chat, by all means, maybe I'm the idiot. Or bring back the Civ 2 advisors and go full ham. You know, you have those awful guys in the outfits saying like, my liege, we need to build tanks. My liege, we gotta improve our culture. Like that is amazing, but this is pretty terrible. I can't like click on this. There's no journal. They just kind of sit on the side here. Interestingly as well, have you seen people play the game now with triumphs? If they do a bunch of like tracking, I don't tend to, because of course you just ignore triumphs, right? But you're one of these people that's like, oh, I love triumphs. I love... People would be like, I love triumphs because they no longer feel like a checklist to me and I'm not railroaded anymore. And this is on the left of their screen. Welcome to the stream, everyone. I've tied my channel to this game, by the way. Anyway, thanks for stopping in, everyone.